Metal screams as gravity fails and bodies slam against restraints. Warning lights pulse, and someone is already bleeding before anyone knows why the descent has turned violent. The hatch blows inward, flooding the chamber with bitter dust. Air tastes burned, and the ground outside looks alive in ways nobody prepared them for. Something moves beyond the haze and vanishes too fast to measure. Orders arrive late, fractured through static, telling them to proceed anyway. They advance across ground coated in unfamiliar growth. Boots sink into softness that shouldn't exist on a dead world. A helmet cam glitches, revealing towering figures for a split frame. Nobody acknowledges it, and nobody asks why the transmission deletes itself. They discover a derelict structure half buried and silent. Its doors are open, as if something left in a hurry. Inside, dried markings smear the walls. The air carries a smell that forces them to breathe shallowly. A noise erupts behind them and cuts short into silence. When they turn back, one of the team is simply gone. They exit quickly, pretending retreat is tactical. The sky dims unnaturally, and shadows lengthen without a source. The transit crawler seals around them with mechanical relief. Then impacts begin striking the hull from outside. Sensors show shapes pacing alongside at matching speed. Their patterns are deliberate, testing weaknesses. The vehicle breaks through open terrain toward distant metal ruins. For a moment, the impacts stop. Relief lasts seconds before something overturns an antenna mast nearby. The crawler accelerates without permission. They reach a pit carved deep into the surface. Instruments insist equipment lies below worth retrieving. At the bottom they uncover crates ripped open from inside. Their contents are missing, though the seals remain intact. A roar collapses the ceiling behind them. Heat rushes in as flames swallow the passage out. They sprint through smoke toward a secondary exit. The ground trembles rhythmically like footsteps approaching. Emerging into open air, they find the crawler destroyed. Something large has peeled it apart. A transmission cuts through panic, redirecting survivors to a distant shuttle. None of them question how command knew they were stranded. They cross the plane on foot, rationing oxygen in silence. The horizon seems closer than it should be, yet never approaches. A signal beacon pulses from a broken tower nearby. It wasn't transmitting minutes ago, and none of them activated it. She disconnects the beacon, and distant shapes suddenly redirect toward them. Cause becomes consequence too fast to undo. They sprint for rocky cover while impacts pound behind them. Nobody looks back long enough to count what's chasing. Inside, they locate intact injectors labeled for adaptive survival. Instructions are encrypted and time is thin. He uses one despite protest, muscles tightening with visible tremors. Movement becomes sharper, heavier, unnatural. Exterior pounding escalates until panels bend inward. Enhanced strength buys seconds as he braces the failing barrier. They escape through maintenance ducts, abandoning equipment behind. Safety trades itself for mobility. Outside again, they cut across rising terrain toward command coordinates. The wind now carries faint mechanical sounds. A hidden entrance reveals a functioning chamber beneath rubble. Lights activate automatically as they descend. Screens display mission logs contradicting everything they were told. Objectives shift from repair to specimen retrieval. A containment unit holds something sealed and pulsing faintly. They debate leaving it untouched and fail to agree. He lifts the container anyway, sealing their direction forward. Motion sensors immediately trigger facility alarms. Doors lock in sequence behind them. Escape routes narrow into a single upward shaft. They emerge beside their destination craft. The shuttle stands intact, impossibly untouched. Entry systems respond instantly. That compliance feels worse than resistance. Inside they find stocked supplies and fresh oxygen. Relief arrives fast and suspiciously complete. He scans the capsule, discovering live movement within. No documentation identifies its origin. External sensors report gathering heat signatures. Rest becomes countdown. The craft refuses ignition until cargo validation completes. Time drains under procedural authority. Hull impacts resume, harder than before. Structural warnings escalate toward failure. Hull impacts resume, harder than before. Structural warnings escalate toward failure. The gaunt survivor injects again, accepting deeper mutation. Strength multiplies but coordination fractures. He exits through an airlock to buy them time. Vacuum silence swallows him instantly. Through cameras they witness shapes driven back by brute force. Victory metrics spike briefly. Then signals flatline as he disappears beneath movement. Silence returns heavier than loss. Engines unlock at last. The ship rises meters before stalling again. Containment alarms scream as the capsule cracks open. Something inside forces emergence. They jettison it through a cargo chute, sacrificing whatever command wanted delivered. Engines finally respond. The shuttle climbs above the plane as swarms gather below. Escape becomes visible reality. A foreign transmission hijacks navigation mid-flight. Coordinates rewrite themselves. He disables remote guidance manually. Trust and oversight evaporates completely. The craft stabilizes but fuel reserves show critical margins. Choices narrow to survival math. She sets course toward orbit anyway. Neither acknowledges who didn't make it aboard. From altitude they observe movement blanketing the surface. Numbers erase hope of return. A final message reaches them, congratulating delivery success despite jettison. Someone still believes cargo survived. Realization settles that they were never meant to return freely. The shuttle was always traceable. He tears the beacon loose, venting it into vacuum. Consequences are immediate and irreversible. Without tracking guidance, navigation uncertainty multiplies. They choose direction anyway. The planet recedes behind them, still crawling with motion. Escape feels unfinished rather than won. Orbit stabilizes, then the hull shudders from an external strike. Something followed them farther than physics should allow. Exterior cameras reveal silhouettes clinging to the plating. Their motion is coordinated, not random. Pressure readings drop along the aft compartment. Internal doors seal without human command. She overrides the lock and advances anyway. Air thins with every manual step forward. Inside, the hull bulges inward rhythmically. Each distortion pushes metal closer to tearing. He injects the adaptive serum found earlier. Flesh stiffens as strength surges beyond comfort. With reinforced limbs he forces the breech hatch open. Vacuum screams past them violently. Outside, he swings tools through clustered shapes gripping the craft. Motion scatters briefly. The effort costs balance, nearly sending him drifting away. She drags him back inside by tether. Sensors confirm exterior contact lost. Victory arrives small and temporary. Navigation glitches return, redirecting them toward the planet again. The vessel resists manual input. Tracing the override leads to hidden code buried deep in firmware. Someone anticipated rebellion. She severs the autopilot core physically. Sparks mark their independence. Manual control returns but alarms multiply. Fuel projections fall below survivable margins. They chart a risky trajectory slingshotting debris fields. Miscalculation would shred the hull. Fragments whip past, hammering shields. Structural strain rises toward collapse. A coolant line ruptures, venting frost across panels. Systems cascade toward shutdown. He stabilizes output manually, hands shaking from mutation side effects. Precision fades. The course clears debris successfully. Silence returns, thin and uneasy. Transmission bursts through again from distant command. They demand specimen status immediately. He answers with silence before broadcasting truth instead. Evidence of deception floods open channels. Retaliation arrives as a remote shutdown attempt. Power grids flicker violently. She reroutes through damaged circuits, defying lockout. Control barely holds together. His mutation worsens, joints locking unpredictably. Time begins working against his body. They near final fuel limits. Only one decisive burn remains possible. He authorizes the maneuver toward distant rescue beacons. Failure becomes binary. Engines ignite violently, draining reserves instantly. The shuttle surges forward. Hull fractures propagate along seams from stress. Structural countdown begins. She deploys emergency reinforcement foam. Integrity stabilizes narrowly. Signal beacons appear ahead at last. Relief mixes with disbelief. Docking clamps capture the shuttle. Motion halts with finality. They step into receiving corridors alone. No crew greets their arrival. Automated scanners flood them with light. Identification passes instantly. Containment teams appear, weapons raised. Welcome protocols never existed. He disables his own transmitter, denying further tracking. Lines are drawn without words. She uploads their broadcast evidence again. Data spreads beyond containment. Armed units hesitate, unsure of exposure fallout. Standoff tension thickens. His body locks mid-stance, mutation reaching limit. Movement abandons him completely. She drags him aside before restraints fall. Survival shifts into sacrifice calculation.